Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks, and a different type of video today. Today we'll have a bit of a chat about whether or not Spain is still a safe country in 2023 going into 2024. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that Spain is a country that wants to attract tourism. Millions and millions of people come to this country every year from foreign destinations. In fact, this year, 2023, Spain has broken pre-pandemic records when it comes to the amount of foreign people visiting the country. So it has to be a safe country from a tourist point of view. Tourists travel all around Spain. It's not like some countries where they're limited to resorts. Let's say, for example, Mexico, where a lot of people go to Cancun because it's considered to be one of the safest places in Mexico, or the Dominican Republic, or places like that. Here in Spain, people travel all over the country. So therefore, I would say all over the country, Spain is safe. And obviously, the government realizes this, and they don't want to affect the goose that lays the golden egg, so they protect the tourism industry. And how do they do that? Well, with a lot of security forces, and that's what I'll speak about now. So when it comes to security forces, and anybody who has visited Spain will tell you this, that there are lots of different types of police around the country. For example, you've got the Guardia Civil, they wear a green uniform. You've got the National Police also out there. Then in some parts of the country, the Basque Country and Catalonia, they have their own police forces, what they call here autonomic police, and they take care of those two autonomous communities. The rest of the country is either controlled by the National Police with the blue uniform, or the Civil Guard, mainly in country areas that wear that green uniform. But no matter where you go, you will see a fairly strong police presence. And then, of course, at a city level and a town level, you have municipal police. So lots of different types of police here in Spain. Police here in Spain are not corrupt. Of course, there have been some corruption cases over the years, but it's not like some countries in the world where police will stop a tourist bus and try to get money off tourists. That doesn't happen here in Spain. So from a police point of view, Spain is well looked after and plenty of security forces on the ground here, so no need to worry about that. However, one of the problems that you might run into here when dealing with the police is that they might not speak English. I know that some of the police forces do. For example, the Guardia Civil or the Civil Guard encourage their officers to learn a foreign language, whether it's English, French, German, or the like, but I'm not sure about the other police forces. I know that the National Police, I don't think there's any requirement for them to have a decent level of English. And also when it comes to the local police or the municipal police, I don't think there's a requirement for them to speak English. I could be wrong, and you might find that in the main tourist areas, for example the Canary Islands, some of the big tourist cities like Madrid and Barcelona, local police do in fact speak English or are able to help you if you should get into trouble. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about are the types of crimes here in Spain. Fortunately, the majority of crimes committed in Spain are petty crimes, small crimes, things like getting your mobile phone stolen, maybe you get your wallet stolen, maybe you get your pockets picked, things like that. And tourists, unfortunately, are often the victims of this type of crime. In fact, in a city like Madrid, and I'll talk a little bit more about statistics in just a moment, but in a city like Madrid, the most dangerous area is the center of the city where tourists are. And statistically, I can back that statement up. But the good news is that violent crime isn't really an issue here, especially if you compare it to some other Spanish-speaking countries around the world. And again, I'll back that up with statistics in just a moment. But in my opinion, violent crime is not an issue unless you are unlucky or in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, when it comes to cities, I mentioned a minute ago that the center of Madrid does have a problem. However, Spain's two biggest cities, Madrid and Barcelona, are in the top 30 safest cities in the world. So that is a positive statistic, again, in my opinion. But with every big city in the world, there are good areas and there are bad areas, so it pays to know where the bad areas are. So you can do a little bit of research before you come to Spain about that. So in a city like Madrid, some of the bad areas, maybe Vallecas, which is on the outskirts of the city. In Barcelona, a neighborhood called Raval is apparently quite dangerous. And then in tourist cities like Seville, there are some areas that you don't want want to go into. So have a look around, and if the area looks dodgy, keep away. That would be my advice. Now, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, language can be a bit of a problem, especially if you are unlucky enough to get into a bit of trouble here in Spain. If somebody does rob you, having a little bit of Spanish or intermediate level Spanish will go a long way. And that's where the sponsor of today's video, the online language school Lingoda, will come in very handy indeed. Now, if you're not familiar with Lingoda, as I mentioned, it's an online language school with real experienced teachers where you can learn a new language or improve on language skills that you already have. And a great thing about Lingoda is that you can learn anywhere, anytime. That's right, anywhere, anytime. Because Lingoda never closes and you can schedule classes whenever you want. And that's fantastic for people that are looking for flexibility, because when you learn a language, flexibility is very, very important nowadays, especially because everybody's so busy. Right, classes on Lingoda are 60 minutes long, and it's a fantastic place for social learners, for example, if you want to learn with other people, because there are groups of up to 5 people, and also if you want to learn a language individually, in other words, one-to-one. Also, on Lingoda, you will find classes to suit different levels. For example, if you're learning Spanish and you're just starting out, level A1 is for you, and you will find classes on Lingoda. In fact, they go all the way up to level B2, which in the old terminology is upper intermediate level. And you can also change your level or cancel your classes anytime you want. So that's also great. So try Lingoda for yourself. They have a 7-day trial where you can try 3 group classes or 1 private class absolutely free. Yes, you heard it, absolutely free, or gratis in Spanish. All you have to do is click the link below and you'll get 20% off your first month should you decide to continue. So what are you waiting for? Click the link below and start learning a language online, for example, Spanish online with Lingoda. Now back to the video. Okay, so now it's time to talk about security in Spain, or safety in Spain, from a statistical point of view. And I have a list of statistics here that I'm going to read out to prove that Spain is a fairly safe country. So let's go. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the crime rate here, or infractions per 1,000 people. And the good news is that Spain sits at 48.6 infractions per 1,000 people. And I think that's a fairly average rate when it comes to European countries, but don't quote me on that. The good news is that when it comes to serious crimes, for example, murder, Spain is low, low, low. And statistically, when you talk about this crime rate, it's normally per 100,000 people, and Spain comes in at 0.68 murders per 100,000 people. Now let's compare that with some other countries. For example, here I've got Jamaica 52, South Africa 42, Mexico 28, Colombia 27, Venezuela 19, the United States 6.3. So you can get a comparison there between the United States and Spain. Spain sitting at 0.68 and the United States sitting at 6.3. And that figure of 0.68 murders per 100,000 people is around the whole country. However, there are some parts of Spain where it's a little bit higher. For example, in the north of Africa, in the 2 autonomous cities Ceuta and Melilla, where it gets up to 4.84 in Ceuta and 2.36 in Melilla. And if we go back to the other figure that I mentioned a minute ago, that 48.6, that's also nationwide, but there are some parts of the country where it's a little bit higher. For example, the Balearic Islands, 63.4, Catalonia, 60.6, and Madrid, 59.2. But the good news is that there are some parts of Spain where it's a lot lower. For example, Extremadura, 30.4, and Asturias, 32 infractions per 1,000 people. So safer to live in either Extremadura or Asturias. Now, when it comes to country warnings about Spain, for example, the United States often puts out a country warning. The United Kingdom also advises its citizens on how safe a country is. And when it comes to the United States, Spain currently sits at USA level 2, and they warn about terrorism, and they also warn about civil unrest. And they also recommend keeping an eye on local media to know what's going on. Fortunately, this channel dedicates time to local media, so stay tuned to the channel to find out more about what's happening here in Spain on a daily basis, especially when it comes to crimes. The United Kingdom also lists a number of possible problems that you will encounter here in Spain when it comes to crime. For example, they say it's a good idea to protect your belongings because, as I said at the beginning of the video, people will steal your phone if they see it lying around, or if they see you with a fancy camera or watch, they might try to steal it too. But that happens in many places in Europe, unfortunately. Vehicle crime can also be an issue, particularly for people coming from the United Kingdom that drive their cars down to Spain, and they warn about a phenomenon that I wasn't familiar with, and it's called highway pirates. People that deliberately hang out at service stations or petrol stations around the country, places where people stop, and you could get your stuff stolen, so watch out for them if you're traveling here in Spain in a car. They also talk about drink and food spiking, be careful with that. And they also talk about scams, but what they do mention is that it's a good idea to have common sense when you're out and about, especially if you are out and about enjoying yourself, maybe letting your hair down, having a couple of drinks. Common sense, always a good idea. So always a good idea to have your wits about you when traveling here in Spain or living in Spain in general, but then again that goes for everywhere, right? Don't walk around like a zombie or you will become a target. So time to wrap the video up and summarize. In my opinion, Spain is a safe country. It does have its issues, but statistically, as we saw, Spain is quite safe, especially if you compare it to some of the other Spanish-speaking countries around the world. But on a European level, I reckon this is a fairly safe country. But hey, that's just my opinion after 25 years of living in the country, and over that time, I haven't had a problem from a crime point of view, except for once when someone stole my bicycle, but maybe that was my fault for leaving it outside. I don't know. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. If you have an opinion on whether Spain is a safe country or not, if you have had a problem with crime here in Spain, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego from this part of Spain.